Welcome into Bluegrass Hall here at Kentucky Speedway, one of the most versatile rooms here on the property as we are ready for Ford Friday here at Kentucky Speedway. Tim Bray, Mike Schmaltz, and certainly we are down to already eliminating drivers in the chase, and only 12 drivers have a chance to win this thing now.
That's right. The drama built. We got to the elimination round, and it was somewhat more exciting to watch the points between the drivers that were in and trying to race in up there at Dover than it was to watch the front of the field, because Kevin Harvick was out there for a long time, as was Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon in week number 4 of the chase, taking the Sprint Cup Series to Kansas, but back at Dover, it was kind of a 2-horse game for a while, and then I don't know what it is about the Stewart-Haas organization right now, but there's no question that Kevin Harvick had it going for a long time, and he's not living up to his nickname.
No, he's not the closer right now. He led 223 laps of that race at Dover. He had a pit crew problem, which is why they changed pit crews to try to avoid all this stuff. He changed with the 14 crew to avoid all these problems, but he seems to be snake bit for some reason. But you have to think he's going to get it together at some point, and it's all going to come together, and he's probably got a run in him somewhere. Yeah,
he's going to run into a win. Maybe this week at Kansas. I don't know. He might take the checker. But Gordon continuing his Renaissance tour, 92nd career win. He was fast from the unload.
Yeah, he leads. He took over about midway, about 300 laps in. He leads 94 laps, including the last 71, wins by 4.352 seconds. Pretty solid showing there for a guy running for his 5th championship.
Yeah, and no question, he is determined to win this thing. And he comes into the media center afterwards, and he talked about that he believes that his team, not just himself, but his team has the ingredients to win week to week and then put it all together to win a championship.
I think that we're a team that, again, is strong enough to win, but also good enough to be consistent. And I think that's what's going to get you through to the next round. And ultimately, I think what it's going to take to win this championship.
How can you bet against Jeff Gordon? I mean, he's won 4 times this year, 5 times at the Monster Mile.
Yeah, all that experience, all the championships, and it's been a while since he's been really up the top of the standings, but he led the regular season in points. Now he's one of 6 tracks, Dover is, at which he has 5 victories or more.
Sounds like Derek Jeter to me.
It is. He's consistent. He's there every year. He's the captain of the NASCAR Sprint Cup garage right now.
Yeah, it's very, very true. And you think about Derek Jeter retiring, Jeff Gordon's kind of hinting around about it if he wins the championship.
It would be somewhat disappointing to me to see him retire, but you got to go out swinging. Yeah. Derek Jeter had a great last game at Yankee Stadium, right? Jeff Gordon wins a championship. It'd be a nice time to maybe close it down.
He's got 7 to go, and this new elimination format to make it all happen. All right, still to come on the show, we're going to break down the chase and just 7 events, as we mentioned ago. Who is strong at Kansas? And there's another kind of chase as well. That's all to come on Ford Friday from Kentucky Speedway. Stay right where you are.
This is the all-new Ford Mustang.
So glad you're with us on Ford Friday here from Kentucky Speedway. And yes, the chase is down to the final 12. And certainly, Mike, you look at this format, and I think the tracks, I think the format is doing what NASCAR expected, and I think the fans are kind of getting into it with their brackets. But boy, they took a severe hit after the elimination round.
And just 6% have the bracket correct going into the second round. So that's unbelievable. So that means 94% of us, me included, have not predicted it perfectly into the second round. Yeah. 2 rounds to go.
I think Kurt Busch had a lot to do with that.
It did. And it was fun watching those guys, again, try to race in. It was 3 points for A.J. Allmendinger, then it'd go back to 5, then it'd be up to 10, and Kurt Busch is in contention, and Eric Almirola just missed the setup. He wasn't really a factor all day. But it was fun watching those guys try to race in, and that's the drama that's built into this format. And it was exciting to watch.
Yeah, I think they've got it right, and it's it's doing very, very well. Now, they've got a mile and a half tracks in the dominating the next 7, plus Talladega in there as well. And, boy, all you got to do is look at the Hendrick drivers.
They're strong. There's no question. And Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, very good on the mile and a half tracks. 38 victories apiece for them on tracks measuring 1 to 2 miles. Then guys in there, Matt Kenseth has 19. Carl Edwards and Harvick have 13. Kyle Busch with 11. Newman and Hamlin with 10. Also Casey Kane in there. Keselowski has 9. And then it's Earnhardt with 6. And Logano only with 3 on the 1 to 2 mile tracks.
Yeah, and of course Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Jeff Gordon. Those are the names. They're at the top of that leaderboard as a speed. They're the hottest drivers. And I think Keselowski really has it right. I mean, he has a firm handle on the format. Simply put, you can't look back.
We've had a really good start, so we can't really complain that much, having won a race and second and a 7th. But it's hard to look at that. All I can think about is how I wanted to win all 3 races.
So Bad Brad has, a win at Kansas, and he's been good.
Yeah, 2 victories, 3 top 5, 4 top 10s in the last 4, showing championship form. A couple of poles mixed in there as well. So they have the speed. There's no question about that.
Yeah, it was 3 years ago that Keselowski won at Kansas, but he's got 2 other wins on a mile and a half track too. I mean, he's got our win here, and so that's a good sign because the last 7 are dominated by mile and a half.
Yeah, Brett Keselowski very good on tracks that are unique. We have bumps here. You slide at Kansas. You have to figure that out. He's cerebral, and his crew chief can figure it out too. Paul Wolf's had some great experience, and they always seem to come up with the right combination at these tracks where it's a little bit tough to race.
Well, and the good thing about it is that he has a strong car and a strong team. Penske's really in good shape. Of course, Joey Logano there too. But what about the rest of these guys? I mean, the guy that really is sitting there and you think, when is he going to get it going is Jimmy.
Right, but he's got it going. He was mentioning this at the media day. Hey, listen, it's not like we're finishing 15th and 12th and we're way back in the 20s. They're up there in the top 10 almost every week. And it's just not the Jimmy Johnson we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing him dominate, take over, win 3, 4 in a row. It's just not that kind of season right now for him.
And you bring up a good point because consistency still plays a factor in this new format. Carl Edwards, I think, put it the best and certainly put it in perspective in that same presser at the Hall of Fame. And, he says it's back to like 0-0. There's no score in the football game. And, yeah, we don't have all the speed in the world. However, we are still there. We're fighting for it. And we've got a chance when the playing field is even.
Like this an opportunity for us. We've not had the speed that really a lot of the guys have had up here, and so we're searching for that speed. And in the meantime, if we can stay, keep our heads above water, so to speak, if we can keep being part of this reset button while we're searching for that speed, it's a great opportunity for us.
So it really is the best of both worlds. I mean, if you consistently are in the top 5 in the next 3 weeks, that might get you the eliminator ride.
Yeah, you take a look at Matt Kenseth, 11 top 5, 18 top 10s. Hasn't had a victory yet after having 7 last year. But in winning sexy, it works. There's also some merit to grinding it out and being consistent still. So it's both ways in this format.
I don't know if NASCAR was thinking about that when they put it all together, but it's playing out that way. Stay right where you are. We've got much more coming up here on Ford Friday at Kentucky Speedway.
You never know what might come your way. A 24-speed bike with 7 gears you will never use. An aquarium for the fish you named but shouldn't have because, fish. A snowboard that'll carve a mountain like it was a Thanksgiving turkey. Whatever comes your way, the Ford Escape with its foot-activated liftgate will help you bring it home.
Our final segment on Ford Friday from Kentucky Speedway. And who really is strong at Kansas? Well, I don't think you're going to put Kyle Busch in that category.
It's absolutely puzzling that Kyle Busch, with all his talent, can't get a hold of Kansas Speedway. His average finish there, 22.7. He just has 2 top 10s in his
entire career
at Kansas.
Wow.
It's crazy.
I never thought I would be talking about the 18 not really being in contention. And in this format, you've got to be running well.
You do, and I think he is, and we'll see how he works through this section because now you've got Talladega coming after that. If he can't get a hold of Kansas and he has some trouble at Talladega and who knows what could happen there, he's really going to be in a situation going into that 3rd race.
I think they're all thinking about Talladega because that's the real wild card, to the point where they're scared of it.
Yeah, they are, and it's just something they deal with, and it's similar to Daytona. Starting off the season, you can have a great run, you can have some trouble back in mid-pack. So we'll see how the strategies play out and see if anybody lays back at the beginning of that Talladega race or if they want to race at the front.
I think we'll talk about that next week. But one thing about Kansas, some of these guys like Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, the Hendrick guys, the Brad Case had, as we said, has a win there. So it's a very similar track to Kentucky in the fact that some of those guys that really enjoy hard racing are going to find their way to the front.
Right, that pavement is starting to come in now. It's getting a little bit older. They repaved 2 years ago, I believe it was, and that's where the slippery stuff comes in. So maybe not as many options as they have here at Kentucky with our old asphalt, but it's starting to gain some personality out there.
Yeah, it certainly is. All right, let's talk a little bit about another kind of chase, and it's Chase Elliott in the Nationwide Series. He's in good position. There's only 5 to go there. Regan Smith is 26 points behind, and they, of course, are at Kansas this weekend as well. A lot of people are believing that a very strong finish in the next couple for Chase Elliott, and he might be untouchable.
Right, he continues to gain separation, and we go back to that word consistency for Chase Elliott, and just his knowledge and the demeanor with which he races is well above his years, and he's really in great position to take this championship.
We will be watching, there's no question. And our Ford Fact, well, that's one of the things that we talk about every single week. Mike has hit the computer hard this week on this one.
We're going to take you on a walk down victory lane, Tim Bray, for our Ford Fact this week. Ford had 7 in the top 11 at the inaugural Kansas Sprint Cup race. 7 in the top 11.
Wow.
Here we go. Get your notebook out.
All right. Where's my pen?
Ryan Newman was 2nd. Ricky Rudd was 3rd. Rusty Wallace was 4th. Mark Martin 6th. Robert Presley was 7th in that race.
I remember Robert Presley.
Kurt Busch was 9th, and Jeff Burton 11th.
Whoa.
There's your Ford Fact, and that was loaded this week.
Yeah, that was very loaded, especially when you can pull some of those names out, like Ricky Rudd.
Yeah, some fun names on that list for sure.
Yeah, that's all right, time for our picks of the week, and well, we haven't been doing so well here as of late. Well, actually,
94% of the country's having problems with the bracket, Tim, so we're not alone.
We are not alone. I didn't dream that Jeff Gordon would win last week, but I'm going to stay with a Hendrick driver because sooner or later, Jimmy Johnson's going to be taking that checkered flag.
Jimmy Johnson, very good. He has 2 victories, 6 top 5, 14 top 10s at Kansas.
See, he just validates
and there you have
everything.
Now, I'm going to take a guy who's got to get it together at some point.
We talked about him, right?
But he leads 200 laps. He doesn't win last week. He's good at Kansas. Kevin Harvick, 1 victory, 3 top 5, 8 top 10s for him out there on that mile and a half. And he was only a couple hundred other thousandths of a second behind Jeff Gordon in May.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson. Remember, it's a clean slate now. What Brad Keselowski has done to start this chase really doesn't make it any difference at all. And even Joey Logano. So this middle section here, these 3 races, very critical, and it starts at Kansas.
It's a tricky group. A lot of things can go wrong here at Kansas with the slippery slopes. A lot of things can go wrong at Talladega. Yeah. We already know about restrictor plates.
Yeah, and of course they got Charlotte in between, and then they throw in Martinsville there before we get to Homestead. All right, so you have got Kevin Harvick. I've got Jimmy Johnson. Both of them, sooner or later, they're going to take a checker.
Right. Look out for Matt Kenseth, too. Kenseth, 2 victories, 6 top 5, 10 top 10s in Kansas, and he's well overdue to get the victory lane.
Well overdue. That would be quite a celebration if Matt... It would be like the Packers winning.
It would be. It'd be awesome. Out there in America's midsection, a nice, wholesome Matt Kenseth victory.
Yeah, Packers did win on Thursday Night Football as well. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Ford Friday from Kentucky Speedway. For Mike, I'm Tim. We'll see you at the races.
Curtis is a fuel economy world record holder. He goes to great lengths to squeeze every last penny out of each tank of gas. But there's an easier way. New Quaker State Ultimate Durability helps save an average of 5 cents per gallon of gas. Learn more fuel economy tips from Wayne at QuakerState.com.